Hey friends, it's me, Rachel Slauson, and I wanted to talk to you today about my decision to compete for Miss Utah USA 2020. Am I going to do it? Will it be another year of dancing and prancing around, or will I finally hang up my crown? So, this has been an interesting topic of discussion for some time. I got into pageantry when I was 19 years old, and I was inspired by the confidence and the beauty and the power behind the women that were competing. And I said, I want to do that, and I could represent my state. And so I competed for Miss Utah USA. And I ended up winning Best in Interview, but I did not win. And I didn't place my first year either. What happened instead was I saw that the women that did win and all the women that placed ahead of me had breast augmentations completed. And this was not just something that I guessed or assumed based off looking at a woman. This was something that they were openly sharing and talking about. And so I believed that I needed a boob job in order to be competitive, to be a winner, to be loved and accepted and seen and safe in the world. So after my first beauty pageant, at 19 years old, paid for my own boob job. And this was a very painful experience. I woke up in a lot of pain. It took me like a month or two until I stopped hurting. And I remember I got this huge rush of confidence and self-esteem. And then it faded away pretty quickly. So I realized that getting a boob job was not the answer to my life's problems and still competed in beauty pageants. And before plastic surgery ever happened, I also had struggled with an eating disorder, disordered eating habits. I struggled with the perception of my body since I was like 13 years old, because that's when these messages start getting sold to children about what we are supposed to look like and how we are supposed to treat our bodies in order to be loved and safe in the world. So I struggled with food, but I never had thought anything was wrong with my chest. I was like a 32B before, and now I'm a 32 double triple D, which is bigger than I wanted. I wanted to be a 32D, and my doctor said, girls always come back asking for bigger, so we just give bigger, and that way you won't end up wanting another surgery. And I was like very confused and hurt, and also had signed a waiver saying that I couldn't sue, so there was nothing I could do about it. And I basically had to adjust to life with like double D, triple D breasts, and that is a vast difference in size, because clothes don't fit the same way. Things that used to look really good on me when I was smaller chested now didn't fit at all, and I had to like rebuy my wardrobe, and I felt like I had to cover myself more in order to not attract certain unwanted attention, and it was just this huge adjustment that I wasn't expecting at all. So I got back into pageantry. I competed again for Miss Utah a couple years in a row, and I also competed one year in California. I was born in California and grew up in Utah, so I actually could also compete in Seattle. I lived there for 6 years too. So I went back to pageantry, and every year before a pageant, I would just get so in my head, like, how much weight do I need to lose? How skinny do I need to be? And I would see that the women who are winning are all smaller than I am, and I am by no means taking up a lot of space in the world. I'm frankly not. I feel like I have a more curvy boob. I have a more curvy boob than the average flat boob, but there's a little more curvature in the boobage. I decided that, there were multiple times I competed, and I would skip meals and work out for 2 hours a day. And there were years when I competed when I was quite small, and I still hated my body and still didn't even place. At least maybe I would do a little bit better than years before, but it didn't give me the crown. And so I have this really weird relationship with pageantry, because I think that the swimsuit competitions actually, in many ways, very empowering for a woman to feel for a woman to just feel confident and proud of her body and walk out on stage in front of people saying, yes, I'm healthy and fierce and ferocious and not afraid. Because, growing up in Utah, I spent so much of my life covering my body due to cultural norms about modesty. And so for me, pageantry was actually very liberating because finally I had a space where I didn't have to cover myself anymore. And unfortunately, it did come with a flip side, which is, well, now that I don't have to cover myself, well, what do I have to look like in order to be safe to be out there as myself? And so I've been really conflicted about whether I want to compete again because frankly, I don't want to exercise for 2 hours a day. I don't feel like that's healthy for my own personal life. Some people, that's really healthy for them. Some people have more athletic styles with their body and more athletic ways of moving and treating their body. And I think that's so beautiful. But in certain ways, I do like strength training and I do have some athletic tendencies. Pageants are competitive and I like to be the best version of myself, but I don't believe that I want to share with the world that you need to exercise for 2 hours a day to have the perfect body. I think that's not true. And also when it comes to food, I don't want to restrict myself anymore. And I don't want to say that some foods are good or bad. I currently practice, and I've been doing this for maybe like 2 months or so, what's considered intuitive eating. So it's not really calling yourself anything. You just listen to your body. And if it feels like a yes, you put it in your body. And if you feel like, I try to ask myself, like, is this food honoring myself? Is this an act of self-love? If the answer is yes, I put it in my body. And sometimes that includes ice cream because sometimes that's what your soul needs. So, because of that, I have a little bit more softness to my body because, I'm not eating pure protein every day and I do eat carbs, I eat fat, I occasionally eat sugar. But it's interesting because the more that I've listened to my body, the more I crave vegetables and nutrient dense foods and plant forward foods and more holistic whole carbohydrates that last longer. And my sugar sources usually come from fruit. So overall, my nutrition habits have just become what I would consider extremely healthy just by trusting myself and trusting my ability to make my own portions. So this is where we come to the question of, will I compete for Miss Utah USA 2020? And the answer is abso-freaking-lutely, because I love pageantry. I think that the USA system is the most glamorous and well-renowned pageant system, and I think that the pageant system is ready for more softness and more cellulite, and we're just, I think as a society, we're ready for beauty standards that are more inclusive. And inclusive means everybody, right? Everybody should feel confident to walk out on stage as a sexy, glorious goddess in a swimsuit. Whether you're, super curvilicious or super lean or somewhere in between, which is where I tend to consider myself. But again, I have years of programming in my brain as to what is considered lean. So who really knows? I could secretly have an 8-pack and not even know it at this point. I just think that when I picture who would be the most inspiring Miss USA for me to see, what I would love to see next year is a woman that loves herself, feels whole and complete in her body, and does that in whatever way feels best for her. But especially, maybe we could just calm down a little bit, and it doesn't have to be about, even the fitness per se, because fitness means so many different things to so many people, and 30 minutes of walking every day is going to extend your life more than starving yourself. So, frankly, I don't really want to shave years off of my existence to fit into a swimsuit. I would rather just embrace my own female form exactly as it is. And I think that that's exactly what is needed as your next Miss Utah USA 2020. So the answer is yes, I do plan to compete. No, I don't plan to have any more plastic surgery. And I also don't plan to diet anymore. I don't believe that that's what I want to promote at all. I hope that diet culture comes to an end, and as a society, we can reconnect with our food and reconnect with ourselves and our bodies and just learn to fully accept and love ourselves and also embrace our glamour and sensuality and all these other fun stages to play on because that's what being a woman means to me. Thank you. Ding. I just feel like I need a baby to hold so like I could, kiss a baby at the end of this.